I'll start off. There was no injuries to talk about. We'll get you all that once we get up to camp, and we can roll from there. But go ahead and fire away here. Your time's yours.
Let's go first to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Good morning, Andy. Hey, couple things. First, I wanted to get your thoughts on how this portion of the offseason went, what you felt like you got out of OTAs and minicamp. And Brad, I'll have a second question as well.
Yeah, listen, I told the players this. First of all, I appreciated their attendance during this time. We have a lot of new faces, and so it gave us a great introduction to the offense, defense, and special teams. So, which I thought was huge for us. And then we'll go ahead and fine tune everything once we get up to training camp. But again, I thought it went well, Adam. I liked the attitude of the guys. They came in ready to work, and that's what they did. They finished up here with a little conditioning drill, and they did great on that. So they've got a good mindset, and as coaches, we appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay. And one guy I've been meaning to ask you about is Jerick McKinnon. What did you guys like about him? How do you see him fitting in? Does he maybe give you something that your other backs don't give you?
Yeah. So, well, he's experienced. He's been doing this a while, and he does it well. He's good. I mean, these were passing camps more than running camps, but he sure has a nice feel of the pass game, and we look forward to. I look forward to giving him the whole package once we get up there, and let's see what he can do once we get playing real football.
Let's go next to Herbie Teope. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, good morning, Coach.
Hi, Herbie.
2 questions here for you, Coach. The first one, to kind of follow up on what Adam asked you. You mentioned you appreciate the players showing up. What is your comfort level at this stage heading into training camp when you compare it to last year when you didn't have this portion of the offseason workout program?
Yeah. So listen, on these Zoom calls, as you know, I mean, you can install, you can do all that. You can talk about fundamentals and techniques, but you can't work on them, and that's just what's real. This gives you an opportunity to actually run the play and work on the fundamentals and techniques, and let the players, after the coaches have evaluated their last season, to sit there and help them get better with the, again, techniques and fundamentals that they might need this season. So I think it's a win-win. I think it's great to have the technology, but at the same time, I think it's important that we're still able to get them on the field. And I said this before, I think it's important that coaches handle it the right way and try to keep the players as safe as they possibly can. If that, for us, if that means giving up the run game part of it, we did that versus air and bags, but we didn't do it against each other. Then that's what we do. So you got to try to keep them as safe as you possibly can.
And Coach, finally, Travis Kelce on Tuesday expressed surprise at some of the comments that Le'Veon Bell made. Are you aware of those comments? And what was your reaction to that?
Yeah, Herbie, listen, I really enjoyed my time with him here. So I appreciated the way he handled things and did his business, and he had some productive downs for us, and I'm pulling for him in the future. I mean, that's how I roll. I mean, people say things, they say things. So I move on, and I wish him the best,
Let's go next to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Good morning, Coach. Just because we won't get you now for another month and change here, I know you had said Patrick Mahomes was able to go full because it was a passing style at camp. How much is your expectation with the docs and stuff that he's going to be able to be 100% when you do some of that running stuff, quarterback scrambles out of structure when you get to camp?
Yeah, listen, I mean, we were cautious with him, and he'll do anything. And so, it's just a matter that we were smart, try to be as smart as we possibly could with it. And his communication was great. He kept it open with us, and we checked with him to make sure and see how he was doing during practices, and not just the first day, but you want to check on the third day too. So to see how he's doing. And he made it through. I think this was good for him. And then we'll just see how he feels once we get up to camp. But he sure got a lot of work done here, and he came out feeling pretty good.
Go next to Matt McMullen. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Coach. We talked to Clyde yesterday, and he said that one area he's looking to improve this offseason is in the passing game as a receiver. How much as a coach do you appreciate it when a young player comes in with a specific thing they want to work on?
Yeah, I think that's good. We didn't have a huge expanded role for him in the pass game, just kind of getting him in the swing of the defenses that the NFL plays and then all the run plays that we have and the routes that we did have that, tie in with everybody. But we've tried to give him a little bit more this off season, and he's handled it well. Look forward to getting him out of training camp where we can keep growing in that area.
Looks like we've got 3 more hands up. We'll go from the top, starting with Sarin. Go ahead, Sarin.
And Brad, I have a quick follow-up to this. Coach, analytics today, one of the things that they've been going through and grinding out is that like the number 3 receiver can be a big difference maker for you, right? Like you get down to that third corner, that's a matchup that can be very, can be exploited to an offense's benefit. That's kind of a spot maybe in flux for you right now. Number one, do you agree with that thought that third receiver is really important? And how do you think the competition is there at that spot?
Yeah, no, I think that's important. I also think that wide receiver position is one that gets, it's deficient just a bit in the stat category where years help improvement at that position. So people say, that's a position that you spend your 4 years with, then you get right. I'm not sure I agree with that. I think that's a learned. There's a whole lot that goes into the learning process and production. Bit hard to measure, but that's I believe that. So I like the guys that we have. It might be by committee, but we've got a good nucleus of wide receivers there, and I feel comfortable with those guys.
And then on the other side of the ball, Chris Jones making the switch, or at least, working on possibly making the switch to defensive end. I know it's something that he's obviously on board with. That helps, right? If the player likes that, he's been talking to us about wanting to play defensive end for a year or two. But, for somebody who would say, hey, you're weakening yourself at 2 spots. You're taking a known commodity that's a success at D tackle and now moving him out to a question mark. Just what's your overall philosophy on making that move with a guy that's been so successful at one spot?
Yeah, sure. No, and the one thing it does, it gives us flexibility. I mentioned that Jerick Reid was, it hasn't been talked about much, but I look at him as kind of a key cog to that, that ability to move Chris around, and so he's been a heck of a football player in this league, and he's an interior player, so it gives us some flexibility with Chris to move him in or out. And I know he likes getting out there to rush the passer. He's looked pretty good doing it here in shorts. So we'll see how it works out with pads on.
Go next to Todd Lebo. Go, Todd.
Hey, Coach, I know you generally have a message for your guys at this time of year. You're going to be away for a while. Is it any different this year? We got questions about vaccines, what they should do on that front. And I'd like to know what your thoughts were on the guidelines that the league gave as far as vaccinations and those numbers this past week, and where you guys are with it on that front.
Sure. Yeah. So Todd, we've kept the guys as educated as we can with the different protocols. Also gave them the opportunity to look into whether they wanted to be vaccinated or not, the pluses to that, what the doctors are saying, the latest science is saying. And so if they had questions, all I asked was that they get them answered. And with that, we've had a number of guys sign up. We're heading in the right direction there. We're one of the top teams with vaccinations, and we'll keep rolling with it. But I think the education part of it ends up being important for a lot of guys, just to know where this thing's at and where it's going. So, and I like the policies that they put in. I mean, there's some things that just have to be done to make it work, and I think the league's done that. So, did I answer all the questions? That was a layered. There you go. Anybody else?
Oh, we've got one more, Coach. Matt Derrick will close us out. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Coach, good morning. Hope you enjoy your time between here in training camp.
All right, man, you're the closer. Pressure's on you.
Got to do my best here, apparently.
Yeah.
And when you selected Noah Gray, Brett Veach talked about how this is a guy that he thinks can, maybe fill in for Travis when he's not on the field and be a really reliable number 2 guy. What did you see about him so far? And how have you felt his development has come along here in this camp?
Yeah, so he's a smart kid and he works hard. You can see that. You can see that he's a good route runner. There's more to that spot than just doing that. So we'll see once he gets pads on. But he sure is willing to do whatever we've asked. And you get a sense that he's quarterback friendly. So that always helps if you're a receiver. If quarterbacks like throwing the ball to you. That's a plus. And he's presented himself that way so far.
Coach, we really appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us.
You guys have a safe break here.